Hello everybody, Reggie Time here, and today we're doing something a little bit different. One of my players, who's recently moved into playing the Pineapple games, or the 3 - 1 games as they call them on PP Poker, has sent me a bunch of hands and said, oh, these might be fun to promote the games and for you to look at. So I haven't looked at any of these hands. I've got eight, about 11, 12 hands to show you. We're not going to be going too deep into them um, strategically unless they're interesting, because I'm going to guess most of them are going to be pretty comedy in terms of like the hands out of his opponents are stacking off with. He did say they were fun and good to promote the games. I haven't looked at a single one of them, so um, who knows? This could be a great video. Could be a pretty crap one. I haven't got a clue. But yeah, I'm sorry that there was no videos late towards the end of last week. I struggled a little bit with my health last week. Nothing serious, nothing to worry about, nothing for anyone to be concerned about. But I just pretty low energy, didn't feel great, and didn't do much poker. So yeah, feeling a decent bit better this week. Still not back 100% yet, but I've got a pretty long and free week ahead of me. I'm intending to get my head down, get plenty of games in, both in these Pineapple games during the day and on Poker Bros during the evenings. Going to try and get back on a reasonable, normal person schedule, so I'm not feeling too tired. Make sure I get plenty of rest, make sure I'm eating at the correct times, and get myself really well on peak form for Christmas. So yeah, hopefully we'll enjoy these hands. Literally, as I said, I haven't seen any of them. I'm going to presume we're winning most of them, if not all of them, and I'm going to presume we're going to be up against some pretty comedy ranges. But let's see. Our hero has two kings here. I know Robbie. Robbie's a good player. So this one might just be a cooler if he's in against Robbie. Robbie's not likely to be fucking around too much here, wouldn't have thought. Our hero puts the obvious 4-bet in. Robbie calls. Robbie's going to jam here, obviously. Maybe he's got two queens, something like that. 10 jack. Ah, so our hero didn't win that one. Oh, I didn't mean to press that fucking button. Piss off, Reg, you cretin. Just wanted to, like, I'm not going to look at the hand again. Just didn't want that end screen on. Um, yeah. I mean, I'm guessing that our friend Princey here wasn't a huge fan of Robbie's call of the 4-bet. But let's have a look what size he makes it. I'm not sure. If I was in Robbie's shoes, I think I'd play this the same way. I wouldn't be catching me folding 10 jack before the flop just to a 4-bet, 1 to 3-bet. Getting such reasonable odds. Not sure Robbie needs to raise there. I think he can just call and let our friend carry on bluffing or value betting. But what do I fucking know? These guys are both, in my opinion, good players. And yeah, that one was just a good old-fashioned cooler post-flop. Pre-flop, maybe Princey could argue that Robbie should fold, but I'm not so sure. On to the next one. Princey has two queens this time. I'm guessing big pairs are going to be a common theme here. Big pairs and ace kings, etc. So let's see. Presuming Princey is going to put a reasonable size squeeze in here. Which she does. I think I'd like to see him go with the large bet here. I know people like to go smaller in 3-bet pots now, but no, I think I'd like to go larger here on this board texture, personally. But I mean, that's nice. Right, how do I pause these at the end? If I just click off it, does it pause? Yes, it does. Right, okay. So let's get to the end of this again. Or we'll pause it in the spots where I think we have some points of interest. And I think the flop c-bet's the one for me. And it worked on this occasion. The small c-bet worked. I have no issue with the squeeze size here. Wanted to get to like 13 blinds, something like that. He gets it up to. No issue with that at all, obviously. Morano, it's not a player I'm familiar with. Could be a good player, could be a regular, could be a fish. I don't know. But I think on this board texture, and now I know it's all the rage to bet small in 3-bet and 4-bet pots. I do it a hell of a lot myself. But this isn't a board, I think, that we're going to be firing wide on too often. So for me, this is a kind of a board where my c-bets are going to be of a pretty low frequency. If I had like an ace-king here or an ace-queen or something like that, I probably wouldn't fire on this board in this particular game where people are going to be like more pocket pair heavy pre-flop, etc., because they just get dealt more pocket pairs. So I think this is where I'd go with a much lower frequency c-bet and use a much bigger sizing. I'd probably try and get it in over 2 streets here. I'd probably go something like maybe anywhere between 13 and 15 on the flop, and then just pretty much jam any turn. Just shut my eyes and jam any turn. Now, as it happens, maybe the small c-bet, the 1/3 pot that Princey went with, or was it around 1/3 pot? Yeah, maybe that induced this. But I still think, in general, on boards like these, which don't really favour our range much. Obviously, we still have all our aces, kings, queens, jacks, etc. But it misses a lot of our ace, king, ace, queen, stuff like that. I personally would have gone with a higher bet because my frequencies here are lower. But I don't know Prince's game very well, and maybe he c-bets a lot more than I do, and maybe he wants to be able to c-bet some wider hands and just over pairs here, and therefore using that sizing is maybe fine. What the fuck do I know? I'm no expert. But he won the hand, and that's all that matters. So here we have a 20 NL game, playing short-handed. Our hero has 7-9 suited. He flops a gutter ball. All looks pretty standard so far. Turns the nuts. Goes with a tiny bet again, and I'm not into that. I mean, and again, I don't know this player, but I think the pot's tiny. There's what's before any bets go in. There's only 4 blinds in the pot. We only have 2 more streets to get money in, and we have the nuts. Now let me pre-qualify this. Princey is a fucking crusher. He does really, really well. He's been crushing Poker Bros for a long time. And now he's doing well on PP Poker. So I'm probably not qualified to critique Prince's games, but he sent me the hands, so fuck it, I'm going to. I think you should definitely bet larger on that turn size, unless he knows something about his opponent, because we have 2 more streets to get money in, and potentially we could get to the river with the nuts, and if he just called this bet, only have a pot size of like 6 big blinds or something like that, which doesn't seem right to me. Looks like he's got away with it. Then he just calls. Wow, he's gone for the ultimate slow play here. So we got to the river with the stone nuts, and at the time there was only 10 blinds in the pot. I mean, I'm assuming things are about to go fucking crazy, but yeah, not a fan of how we played this so far. And that was just a pretty standard cooler there. 5s versus the straight. Trying to find a fucking way to... I can't get these end screens right for the hands. So yeah, that one was just like flop set. Got a bit trappy with it. And then ran into a relatively hidden straight, I think. I guess it's a cooler once the turn comes. But it didn't have to take a long time getting the fucking money in. On that turn, I mean, why couldn't all the money just go in on the turn? Lado check raises, we 3-bet, he doesn't give a fuck, and bang, 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 get all the money in. It took a long time to get the money in there, Princey. A little bit too long for my liking, but you won, so happy days. Here it looks like we're going to be playing the Queen Jack in a heads-up pot of 100. Crap, he gets round the stakes, does Princey, doesn't he? He gets round the stakes. So I'm presuming we're opening here. We do. Flop the open ender. Again, for me, oh right, we get donked into. Interesting. So for me here, I think had it checked to us, again, it would have been the kind of board that I wouldn't be c-betting at a high frequency, although with a much higher frequency heads up with 2 overs and an open ender. So I would have probably gone with a smallish bet on that flop. But as it isn't, we've been donked into by a player that I don't know. So assuming this is me with this hand against an unknown, I don't think I'd raise here. I think if we get 3-bet, it's a fucking disaster. I wouldn't really want to get it in with just 2 overs and an open ender, even though it is heads up and it's against an opponent who's taking a strange line. It wouldn't be for me. I think I would just call here, then look to play some later streets. Maybe our opponent slows down, we get to bluff when we miss. Maybe we improve and he doesn't slow down, but I don't think I'd raise here. Let's see what Princey does. Princey does go with the small raise. He gets called. Turns the nuts. Runs well, this Princey guy, doesn't he? Fucking hell, how good does he run? He bets 1/3 pot. Board pairs river. See again, I think we've raised a flop, so we've kind of polarised ourselves, and then we've hit gin on the turn and we've bet small. Again, I don't want to criticise someone who I know does incredibly well in these games, but I think once we raise the flop, I think we're duty bound to make bigger turn bets, aren't we, surely? Unless we're trying to represent, oh shit, I had top pair and now I'm scared of the king, but I'm still betting. Yeah, for me, I mean, the flop raises, even though it's a small raise, anytime someone raises, it's kind of raises over a bet, or whether it's a 3-bet pre-flop or whether it's a raise post-flop. It's kind of a polarising thing. So when we raise and then we want to bet the next street, for me, usually, you want to be sizing up. I could be wrong on that, but that's how it feels to me. And then, yeah, I think if we'd sized up by an extra 10 blinds on the turn, even gone to 2/3 pot rather than 1/3 pot, we'd have 65 left in his stack, and we'd have 70 in the pot, which wouldn't leave us with an overbet now for the river. So I think I would have gone bigger on the turn. I would have gone bigger than 20, to be honest. I'd have been up more in the closer to pot region, and kind of just hope our opponents in there with a 2-pair type hand, or something he just can't fold. If he's in there with like a king 10, for example, then we're going to get all the money either way, I guess. But well, we're not going to anymore because the man's got a full house. But yeah, I think once we choose to raise the flop, I think if we're going to barrel turns, which we probably should with high frequencies, we need to be using bigger sizings in general, in my opinion. Anyway, he leads up a pot on the river. We're obviously going to jam. Oh, we just call. I mean, we didn't miss any value there, because the villain had a hand he couldn't call with. But yeah, again, I would have played that hand differently to Princey. So here we are in with what I'm presuming is going to turn into an ace-6 suited. Which it does. We're going to play versus under the gun. We're going to squeeze here or just call. Interesting. I don't even think I'd play this hand personally. I think versus under the gun and a caller, not closing the action, we're not even going to have the button. I think on the button I'd find a way to play the hand. I think if I was going to play here, I wouldn't be calling. I would be squeezing or I would be folding, and if I was squeezing, I'd be bumping it up to something in the region of 540. Let's see what Princey does. 480. So we're on the same wavelength. Slightly different sizing, but that's neither here nor there. He gets cold called at the big blind, and everyone comes along for the ride. Interesting. Let's see what happens when the action gets to us, first of all. So, we're in a squeeze pot. We've got bottom pair and a backdoor nut flush draw and a backdoor straight draw. It's just a check, isn't it? Nothing else we can do here. It's just a check and hope the turn brings some love and joy for us. We do find some improvement on the turn. Oops, I didn't mean to pause there. Right, so now then, we're behind here. Let's make no mistake about it. We are behind here with a remarkably high frequency. I don't think we can count our trip outs and two pair outs as outs personally, because we could be behind to sets and straights already. So, in my opinion, we just have a flush draw here. There's 47 in the pot. We have to call 14. So we're getting, what, like 3.4 to 1, something like that. With probably some good implied odds, you would imagine. So we need like 5 to 1 to call here. Something like that. We're not getting 5 to 1, but if you were even to felt just one of these guys on a spade river, say stick another 20 in the pot, then all of a sudden we're getting pretty. Just say the pot's now 67 instead of 47. Then we have to call 14. Then all of a sudden, with the implied odds, we're getting just about the right price. I don't like it. I personally would fold here, unless I thought my ace and six outs were good. But in a multi-way pot, for me, they're not going to be good often enough, and I would fold here. I'm presuming Prince is not going to, of course. But I personally would not have continued in this hand. And then Princey just makes the nuts. And it was just another turned cooler. So here we have the queens. A 60 L table this time. Open. Open 4x. Interesting sizing. Big C bet, I would assume. No. Is he going for a check raise? No. Okay. So, I didn't mean to do that, did I? Oh, fuck off, Reg. So, blind versus blind. And again, I don't know PP 507150 from a fucking hole in the ground. Could be a regular, could be a fucking whale. I don't know. I understand that blind versus blind, what ranges are wide, etc. And we want to be doing a lot of checking on like 9-7x boards because it doesn't really favour our opening range. But both ranges are quite wide, so we can both have a lot more strong hands in it. And on that board texture, I wouldn't necessarily want a free card coming up, especially given that people can get super defensive blind versus blind and just overplay like 9x, 7x. I think I would have bet the flop. If I didn't bet the flop, I most certainly would have check raised. So Prince is taking a chance. He is giving our opponent a chance to get there. I don't think we can do anything but just check call now. Oh, now he goes for the check raise. Me and Princey have very different games. We have very different games, and I presume he's jamming the river. Yep. Yeah, we do have very different games. Interesting to see how other people approach the same spots that you're in. I mean, yeah, again, it's not a cooler blind versus blind, I guess. And Prince has definitely got max value. He got more value than I would have there, for sure. Because on the flop, I'd have just gone bet, and I wouldn't have got all the money in. So, and from here, our opponent has ace nine. We have two queens. I would just have gone probably bet in the region of between 3 and 4, depending on what I thought of my opponents. And then I'd just gone bet turn, bet river. And one less possibly. Or maybe he just says fuck you and raises anyway. Maybe we win the same. I think Princey gambled with his equity there, and it paid off for him. I'm not saying for a second I don't like his line. I think his line's completely fine. I would have done it differently. I think doing it differently would have been fine too. And yeah, many ways to shear a sheep, I guess, or skin a cat, or whatever other animal you want to get the fur or skin of. So here we have the queen. Is this the same fucking hand? Have I loaded the same? I've loaded the same hand twice. Hang fire. So here we have aces. We know this is the next hand, and it's another 60NL table. Again, none of these players are familiar to me. The 4x and the button. We're deep, so I wouldn't mind seeing a larger than usual 3-bet here. I've been using smaller 3-bet sizes out of position lately. And I think it's a nice strategy. I like it. Keep the pot smaller, so post flop our opponent. I guess I'll explain what I've learned about this spot, and I guess I'll cite where I've learned it from. I've been watching a lot of the Heads Up Duel, and one thing Doug Polk's been doing is, especially when a bit deeper, 3-betting smaller when out of position. And I think the theory behind that is that the opponent just gets to realise more of their equity post flop. They're going to win more post flop. So I think the theory of that is that our opponents win a share, more than their fair share, of a smaller pot post flop when we're out of position. I may have butchered that slightly, but I kind of like it because we still get to like 3-bet decent ranges, possibly even slightly wider ones, and we still get to do all of the things that we want to do. But it feels like it doesn't really hurt us to make it smaller, but it does kind of hurt our opponents a little bit because they just get to win less when they win because the pot's smaller. I could be butchering that, but I like it. I've been doing it and I like it quite a lot. And conversely, I've been 3-betting larger when I'm in position, which is completely opposite to what we used to talk. What we were taught 10 years ago was out of position, 3-bet bigger, get a lower SPR, blah, 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 and in position, 3-bet smaller. Play pots in position, encourage your opponents to call, play more pots in position against them. Whereas now, it's flipped. And I'm making smaller 3-bets out of position and making larger 3-bets in position. So there you go. Anyways, we've gone with the what looks like maybe 17x 3-bet. Could be wrong. We've gone with a large 3-bet anyway. Nah, it's going to be a standard all-in pre-flop jobby, isn't it? I wonder what booze he gets it in with. I'm presuming because he's shown. Oh wow, we just go with the call, and then we flop top set. Guess we have to check here, and then he just goes all in, and that's not comedy. That's just aces versus kings. There's the comedy there, sir. Boo. Boring, boring, Princey. So here we have 2 kings at a 20NL table. All seems very standard so far. Raw skill, who's gone for the limp under the gun and back raise jam, so he probably doesn't have a lot of raw skill. And then this guy just goes with it, and then our man just calls, and then he's going to go all in probably, and then we're going to call again. It's going to be a 5-way or 4-way all in. No, Frazzle Dazzle decides to leave some behind to try and bluff post flop. No, he doesn't. And that was just a monster cooler. Everyone had pairs, and there you go. What is this madness? We have 4 cards in this one. We have 4 cards. This is just fucking madness. 2 of which are aces. This is a surprise. I wasn't expecting PLO to come in. Oh, look at that. Our heroes flop top set with a with the redraw. Must be nice to be fucking Princey. That's all I can say. Must be fucking nice. And not only is he flop top set with the redraw, he also gets people raising him. What is it fucking like? Princey, please comment below this video and tell me what it's like to be you, because it seems pretty fucking sweet to me. What a life. Oh, and then get someone leading into him. Princey, you are blessed, sir. Nuts 3-second nuts. Happy days. Princey, you are a blessed, blessed man. Let's hope you got a really small penis, because you don't deserve to have a big penis and to run that good in poker. You can't have both. It's not right. Back to some more basic three-handed poker here. Well, surprise, surprise. We have aces again. Because Princey is definitely the most gifted look box I've ever seen. Only kidding, mate. I know you put the grind in. I know you put the grind in. You deserve your success. Oh, what a surprise. Princey's got the nuts and someone's raising him. Sweet baby Jesus and the orphans. Oh, look, no one wants to fold again. What a life. Again, there's not much to comment on these hands. We're just going to bet until all the money goes in, aren't we, I think? In we go on the turn. See what comedy he gets it in against. King 9. 4-bet pot. Fun. And of course he holds because he's Princey. Why wouldn't he? Why wouldn't Princey hold? And this is the last time we have... Oh, we only have queens here. Tough spot. Tough spot for Princey. He's used to dealing with aces and flushes and nuts and things. Let's see how he handles these these less than premium holdings in Princey land. He goes with the squeeze, as he should. He gets called 4-bet. Wow. Oh, sweet baby Jesus, who saved a good hand till last. So, been an open under the gun and a call. We squeeze to 9 bigs, which I think we could have gone a little bit bigger, but neither here nor there. We get called 4-bet, which just has to be, unless Esperanza, whatever the fuck his name is a total fucking nutter, has to be a concern. Under the gun opens, flat, 3-bet, called 4-bet. So assuming Esperanza isn't a complete fucking wanker, we're going to be looking at a pretty narrow range here. But then there's dead money put in by the guy with the Chinese lettering for his name, and Lady Luck, who's going to need a lot of fucking Lady Luck to win this hand, you would imagine. So there's like 27, there's half a buy-in of dead money in the pot, in my opinion. So there's that extra half of buy-in of dead money, plus maybe a tiny bit of fold equity. I mean, if we jam here, does Esperanza just auto flick it in with Ace King? I guess that's the question I'd be trying to ask myself in the limited amount of time we had. Do we have fold equity against Ace King? Obviously against Kings and Aces, but we're just fucking dead. Do we call and set mine? That seems fucking horrible to me. Although we are getting a reasonable price. We've got to put like what? Around 8 in to a pot of 47. So we're getting almost a correct price to set mine. But do we really just want to like call here and then the flop comes, I don't fucking know, 8 high and then be in a soft spot? Because if the flop comes 8 high, Esperanza isn't shoving. He's not bluffing with Ace King very often. So therefore, do we just have to check fold on 8 high boards? I haven't got a fucking clue. fuck it. I just pile it in and hope Esperance sometimes folded. Ace King. I guess that's what I'd do. What does Princey do? Princey goes with the same idea I had. Queen King. What the actual fuck? That's a shit way to end a video for poor Princey. Just after just giving him all the fucking needle about being blessed and running good, then this happens at the death. He loses a pretty large pot because some absolute fuckwit, cold 4-bet, calls it off with ace, king, queen. And then there's another king in the pot. So the fucking wankers between them have got very limited outs, and they both spike a king, and Princey gets fucking felted. Tough game, tough school. But having said that, if you have got to the end of this video, and hopefully many of you have because it's been a bit different and we've been reviewing someone else's hands, and you want to get in games where people just fucking fire infinite big blinds in with king queen off pre-flop in a spot where king queen off is about as much use as a chocolate teapot, then please do get in touch, because I can get you into these games very, very quickly. And if you're even half good at poker, you won't lose money. Well, you might lose money, bits and bobs, but long term you will not be a losing player. Please do get in touch. It's been a while since I've done much spam. There's going to be plenty of spam this week. This has been an excellent start to the spam videos, and thank you very, very much to Princey for sharing his hands with me. And yeah, I think I prefer these review videos than I do live play videos. So perhaps I'm just going to do what Princey does and just play all kinds of stakes, you know, anything ranging from booking 10NL to 100NL. Just get loads of fun, cool hands, and then just spam the fuck out of them. You might have put me onto something, Princey. But thank you ever so much for sharing them. I really, really do appreciate it. And I hope you guys have enjoyed the video too. If you have, please hit the like and share and all those things. But yeah, for now, we'll leave it there. Thanks again, Princey. Take care, everybody. Have a fantastic week, and bye-bye for now.